After a disappointing first week, Cloud9 has just bounced back in their third game of the split, beating Team Liquid, who came out in the first place last week. I'm now joined by Hai, who has also bounced back from a difficult first week. Hai, there's a lot of conversation about your performance. There was a depressing Instagram photo uploaded from you last week as well. What was going through your mind after the last game last week?
So I think about a month or about half a month before the LCS started, practice just wasn't going well. We weren't winning any scrims. We just had a bad atmosphere in it, and it wasn't fun to play with the team. I don't think anyone on the team was having fun. So it was just like a chain, like half a month to a month of being sad. Go to the LCS, we start off 0-2. It's just like, well, that sucked. Yeah. So while I was sad and depressed about that for a little bit, you don't really have the time to stay depressed. You don't have the time to be beating yourself up, because at that point, I already lost the games. It's not going well, and the only thing I can do is bounce back from that, or do my best to bounce back. So forget what happened. Try to change things up, do new things, and see what you can do. And I don't know. It's just it sucked, but you can't really complain about it. You have to get better, otherwise you're gonna get booted, or the hate's gonna keep coming. You gotta step up and play well.
When you left, and I'm sure you get a lot of Twitter comments, and obviously there were threads about this and all that kind of thing online. Did that stuff get to you? I mean, one of the big threads last week was you guys are doing what you did to Nien and CLG or whatever to High. How do you cope with that stuff, and did it get to you?
Well, I didn't really read Twitter after we lost the 0-2 week. I went 0-8, so they can hate on me all they want, because I should not be going 0-8, right? So I got crapped on for. Can you say pooped on in the interview?
You can say either.
All right. Well, no. Can I swear though?
You can't? This is news to me.
No, I can, right?
Yeah, I've said shit and other words like that in the past on these interviews, and I have yet to be yelled at by anyone.
Them kids though, man. But regardless, all right. So I got shit on in that game, and I knew that if I read stuff, there'd be a mix of things, right? So probably the majority of it will be positive, but you don't really keep the positive ones in your head. You read it because there's so many of them. You just kind of focus out. Then you read one message that'll just be like, hey, go kill yourself, or you suck, get off the team. I don't know why they chose you, or whatever, right? So those messages stick with you more because they're more rare, and they're just more profound, I guess, and just kind of mean. So I didn't really read those comments, and as far as that Reddit thread goes, I don't think I saw many threads at all saying anything about me being bad or anything like I did when Neen was getting all the hate on him. So I don't think my hate is at that level, and it's not necessarily undeserved. People can criticize my play. That's fine. I think that's good for people to do, even my own teammates. So that way I can try and improve on the things that they're calling me out on. But I guess pro players just need to make sure, if you read a comment that says, hey, go kill yourself, hey, you really suck at this game, go quit or something, right? Don't let those ones get to your head, Because there will be people that will, say constructive things, I guess, which are very rare, but probably won't happen anyway. But you can't just let bad things get to you, because it's going to happen no matter how good you do. If you win Worlds, there's still going to be people that hate on you for whatever reason. I don't really know what reason, but you can't get away from it, so you just have to not care for it. And I've played for about 2 years now. I haven't ever really cared for it. I've never been the star player of the team anyway, so it's not like it's anything new if I haven't, getting praise or anything. It doesn't really matter to me.
Sort of bouncing back to your first answer, you had mentioned that things were really rough, and people weren't having a good time on the team for quite some time. Why was that?
Well, a lot of it stemmed off of my play. So I wasn't doing well, right? So I'd be getting ganked all the time, and granted, I should be living these ganks. I shouldn't be dying. But when I'm dying into these ganks that I shouldn't be dying to, that happen all the time, it makes the game harder, because our mid laner is weaker than the enemy mid laner. So it's hard for us to win games. So when you're losing games consistently for the same reason, people are going to get upset, And I'm going to get upset because people keep doing the same thing over and over. And I wasn't fixing the issue. So it was just a lot of it stemmed off of me getting camped and dying for it. So fixing that issue would solve a lot of issues. Granted, there are other things, such as us thinking different ways to win the game and us playing differently from each other. So there are things we obviously have to fix, but I think a lot of it can just stem off of me playing better.
Why do you feel your personal performance had degraded?
I think after IEM, I don't really know what happened. I don't really know. It just hasn't been going well. I've always for the most part, gotten ganked more than I get ganked, which isn't a big deal because it's something I've been used to from the start. And we're not really a mid lane centered focused team. But I think I was just playing dumber and letting more ganks kill me. So with that happening, it just started tilting me, I guess, and I just started losing confidence in my own play. I think my team started losing confidence in my shot calling because I can't shot call when I'm 0-5. I don't really know what to do at that point because like I try to evolve the game around the team, but I know I'm weaker than enemy team, so I don't know how to win the fight. So when I'm behind, it's hard for me to figure out what we have to do. And I think that just like was a downhill spiral of like tilting because like every team would just like a lot of teams, their plan is if they can tilt me or like camp me or kill me and get me behind, it becomes much harder for us to win the game. So a lot of teams will do that in scrims. A lot of teams do that in actual games. And granted, they shouldn't work because I shouldn't be dying to stuff. Sometimes I do, and sometimes it does work, and it's just like went bad because it's just like a month of me dying over and over, and it's pretty sad.
And then you mentioned that after that first week, it was also really hard and it kind of built up. Did you have a conversation with the team? Was there like what happened? Did you just fly home and you started winning lane, or was there actually like a discussion or a sit down or anything where you guys were able to sort of figure this out? Since you said the team had been having struggles because of what was going on with you in mid.
Well, I don't think our issues are necessarily solved. Like if you watch that game, we mostly won that game off of Sneaky and Lemon killing the bot lane like 2v2. When that happens and you get in the lane kill like that, it's a very big deal, you know? So like later in that game, Phoenix like 1v1 me and killed me. He died for it, and it was better for us because we got their turret. But he still killed me, and they're like other things I could have done to play better. So I wouldn't say that our issues are fixed, and we'll have to see like tomorrow too. Like if we win that game tomorrow, then that'll be great. But I don't necessarily think our issues as a team and as a player myself is fixed yet.
But you're on the upwards road then, at least.
Well, if you're at the bottom, you can't really go anywhere but up, right? Yeah. So I was getting crapped on like super hard. So if I'm not getting crapped on, it's getting better, but I can still be getting crapped on.
Do you think that this is... How far away do you think you are from your maximum potential, or at least how you were playing last year?
Well, I don't know, because like if you watch the Worlds games, right, I felt like I was playing well there. Granted, people don't think I did, but if I go like watch the lane phases and everything, I'd say I did them pretty well for what resources I was given and what resources the enemy laner was given, and that didn't pan out for us. So I've been trying to like do new things to be able to like create more pressure and like actually do things with what I have versus what they have. And I just don't want a repeat of another Worlds where I do my best, but I can't do anything more because I don't have enough resources to do anything more, and they have more than me. So I don't know. And I forgot the question. I went on a tangent there.
It's fine. That's a good enough answer. A lot of the analysts and commentators out there have said that you are the core of the team. A lot of people talk about you as the core, and Link kind of echoed this at All Stars when he discussed how stepping into your shoes was a strange situation because so much of the communication of that team goes through you. So do you think that, first off, do you agree with that, and do you attribute that to the reason why you guys were struggling?
Well, I'm the shot caller, and I'm also the mid laner. So the mid lane role as a whole is very important for the beginning of the game. You see, like, a lot of the best teams in the world, they have very good mid laners, right? And they make a lot of their plays around that mid laner. That mid laner either gets a kill or he roams and kills other people or pressures. So a lot of the best teams in the world have a lot of center around their mid laner because they can do a lot of things from there, and a lot of time they're also a shot caller. So when I have these like the two most important, well, not one of them is the most important. I think shot calling is like probably one of the most important roles in the game. And I think mid lane's also super important, maybe not like as important, but they're both like super important roles. And if I'm not fulfilling my duties in those roles at like a substantial level or like a good enough level, then I'm not doing my job. And not only do I have to be able to compete against other people at that level, I need to be better than them so that we can win, you know? So it's like a lot of things I have to do to become like the best in the world or get our team to be the best. And it's hard to do that because I want more resources to be able to do things. Like maybe, for example, when I was in Korea, I got to play against like really good mid laners, right? That helped me a lot. I learned a lot of things about them, and it's been a long time since I played over there. So like all the things I learned, I started to forget because I would have to play differently over there to do the correct things. But coming back to America, I have to play differently, and they're not necessarily the correct things anymore. So if there's a way for me like to change practice, I guess, to get more practice against other mid laners or like different mid laners, I think that would help. But there's no way to do that at the moment.
Kind of rounding this all out and looping back to the game that you just played, So many people, I think, after last week felt like there was a Team Liquid hype train or whatever, that these guys had played really well and were looking pretty good. And obviously, they have a lot of exciting players on their team, especially with Piglet showing up. What are your thoughts on Team Liquid, especially after having just played them in a competitive setting?
Well, I'm not entirely sure. I think their mid laner is good. He had a lot of pressure on me in lane. Granted, I was playing really passive again, and I tried my best not to give him any advantages. But when their bot lane died 2v2, that should signal us to win the game. Like, as long as we play correctly from there and play accordingly to our advantage, then they really can't do too much. So I just literally sat mid. Phoenix literally sat mid. That is their mid laner, right? Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. So we both literally just sat mid. I just made it so he couldn't roam to other lanes to affect those, and just kept the mid with me. Yeah. So doing that made it so that they didn't really get to do anything. We didn't give them an option to come back. So we kind of played a little bit slow until we could start diving their turrets and win off that way. But we played it slow. We took dragons. We took objectives. And we didn't give them a chance to come back, I guess.
Thank you so much, Hi. I really appreciate this. Has been good insight. I'm sorry I'm ramping up the interview because it's so awkward to see Meteos just standing in the window staring at us in a very creepy fashion. For everyone else, you can check out the rest of our coverage of all things LCS at ongamers.com.